to the Wedding Industry Conference. My name is Lorette Veras. I'm with the Bridal Extravaganza, and I'd like to have Lori Spike. Lori, raise your hand in the back, wave. That's Lori with To Get Wed, and we are the co-producers of this event. We're so glad you're here, and the purpose of today is to teach and grow and learn and expand. And a few years ago, I met a dynamic speaker that you're going to hear now. She's going to start the show today, and she's going to end the show today because she really, really is that good. Several of you got to see her yesterday, but I'd like to introduce Shannon Tarrant to you. She's here to help you get SHDDD done. She's on a mission to help wedding venues shake things up. Professional go-getter, she has a distinctive 20-year background in helping wedding pros become more profitable using simple systems. She was an off-site caterer and then a resort venue manager. She developed both companies into local powerhouses in Orlando, right? By following the same systems for success. First, creating exceptional customer experience, then building a trusted brand, and most importantly, filling the sales funnel with ideal clients. Shannon is a highly regarded venue coach, speaker, and co-host of the Wedding Sassholes Podcast, all the while running her own wedding business, Wedding Venue Map, a Central Florida resource helping engaged couples find the perfect venue. So today, help me welcome, give a big Texas welcome to Shannon Tarrant.
Ooh, that's my first Texas welcome. So this is Mike today, so I'm stuck. This is gonna be very difficult because I don't stand still. So this is gonna be a wild ride, but it'll be the first time. So if have any of you heard me speak before besides yesterday? Wedding MBA, you come out, you guys gotta come do some more education and get out there. Tiny bit of housekeeping, I use a lot of GIFs and I talk really fast, real fast. I'm a northerner, not a southerner. I might live in Florida now, but I'm a Yankee. So I talk quick and give you a lot of information in a short amount of time. When you see a camera on the corner of the slide, just take a picture of it. That'll be where the majority of notes are because I will probably talk faster than you can write. It just is what it is, so you're stuck with me that way. And when you see that in the upper right-hand corner, that's usually a tool, a service we pay for, and something that's like legitimately we use in my business. It's our email marketing, the softwares we use, stuff like that. So keep an eye out for those slides. But before we start, as Lorette said, I am your final speaker of the day. And with all the education I do at conferences like this, at national conferences, one of the biggest challenges is you are gonna learn a ton today. The lineup of speakers today is exceptional, and it's gonna be a lot of information. So hopefully you're taking notes and writing things down, but at the very end of the day, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make an action plan. Because what I see is people learn all of this, and then they leave, and then they don't do shit. Oh, I curse too. Fair warning. Sorry. Southern Christian ladies, I'm gonna apologize now because it's coming out of my mouth. But you'll learn all this stuff and you take no action on it. So when you're taking notes today, I have one request because you're gonna need it at 4 o'clock. Make sure if something is actionable and you're like, damn, that's gotta go on a to-do list, put a star next to it because you need it at 4 o'clock. So rather than you having to read through all your notes again, you can just look for the stars. Make sense? Cool. All right, so this presentation today is about influencing. So going back to the very start of my career, I started in off-site catering, and I was like 24 years old, and I go to work for this caterer, and I said, where do we find leads? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, should we be on the national directories? We don't use their names, we just say national directories. And he says, I'm not gonna pay for that, that's too expensive. And I'm like, should we do wedding shows? And he's like, that's too much money. And I was like, I mean, there's no cold calling brides, right? There's no like magical, where do you find them? Like, where do I go looking to find people planning their wedding? I was confused and I was lost, and I'm like, well, there's networking events in my market. A lot of them. We have like NACE and ILEA and WIPA and a local, there's so many, there's like 6 networking events every month in the event industry in Central Florida. And so I was like, well, I'm good at connecting with people, so maybe I'll just go that route. And he's like, well, I'll pay for you to go to those. If you had paid attention, 5 of those networking events were the cost of like a print ad, but it's fine, we'll just go with it. So I learned everything I could possibly learn about networking. I dove deep. I started reading books and articles because this wasn't before the internet. I mean, we had the internet, but we didn't really have websites yet. Yes, I have been around in the wedding industry since before we had websites in our business. And what happened was, as I started building those relationships, referrals started coming in. As a caterer, I was finding planners and venues and even DJs who were like, damn, their food is good. We like working with her. And they started sending business my way. And I was like, holy crap, we need a strategy for this. Because if you won't spend any money and I can just continue to do this, we built the business into the second biggest caterer in our market without spending much money on marketing. I don't suggest that be the plan in 2023. But in like 2005, we didn't have the digital accessibility that we have now. So we really made a plan for it, and it was about consistently showing up to education like this, showing up to networking events, showing up online. I'm going to teach you ways today where you can show up on social media and in other ways, but you have to be showing up. Fast forward 15 years later, I built an entire business on the back of those networking connections. We now are a local directory, and I took all of those connections, built a membership base where we can connect those businesses with the couples, but it's because I had built the background. So today is about learning how to turn yourself into an influencer within this market. Because in general, when people hear the word influencer, this is what they think about. I'm a content creator, like I'm 23 and like here's my OTD, my outfit of the day, like all this stuff that's not what I'm talking about. I mean, it's like a piece of it. But the actual definition, like old school, original definition of an influencer is a person who guides or inspires the actions of others and has the power to affect our purchasing decisions because of their authority, knowledge, position, or relationship with their audience. We have been doing this forever. Like literally since the dawn of time, we have been influencing each other in our purchasing decisions. Because when we trust each other, we are more likely to listen. Somebody potentially influenced you to be here today. Someone who had trust, knowledge, information, reached out to you and said, this is where you should be. You also are influencing all the time, right? You're sharing what restaurants to go to. I'm a foodie in general. So if you've got good food tips, we've got one dinner left. So make sure you tell me where to go tonight. But I'm a foodie in general, but people know that in my market. So when people come to Orlando, I'm like, oh, I will give you the list, like the places no one has ever heard of to come because I talk about it all the time on social media. But when it comes to weddings and B2B, someone has to influence people. So why wouldn't you put yourself in that spot? Would anybody in this room right now be brave enough to be like, I definitely influence people in some way or another? Are you the commenter when somebody says, I'm looking for something on Facebook? Do you share? You've influenced. Look at that, magical. You are an influencer, right? When somebody says, I'm looking for someone to mow my lawn or someone to clean my house, and you share information, if they've even considered that person, you just influenced their decision because they trust you. So when I post those things and people comment, and I'm usually posting it to help someone else, I'm like, oh, don't listen to those 5 people. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. Like, I don't trust their decision and their information. So when it comes to influencing, there's a lot of myths out there that I want to dispel. It's not a new fad. We said we've been doing it forever. It isn't only about online content. I am personally not great at social media. My company is a rock star, but my personal accounts is not so good. That's not where I do my influencing. I stand on stages and teach in front of other people and do it in a lot of different ways. I'm really good at email marketing. I'm really good at a lot of ways. Instagram and Facebook's just it's not my specialty. It's not my specialty. It's not only on social media, like I said, you don't have to be an extrovert. The internet is a great place to be an introvert. So usually when I start this topic, I can see the introverts in the room being like, oh my God, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to put myself out there. You don't really have to, right? Because it's a great way to just you can be involved behind the scenes. My favorite old lady on TikTok. Does anybody follow Babs? Do you know who I'm talking about? She's like this old lady who shares like house tips and life tips and teaches me how to clean shit in my house. She's like in her 70s. She's exceptional. She is clearing $250,000 a year off of TikTok and her influencing. She started 18 months ago. She's in her 70s. She just probably has someone younger in her house shooting all the video and posting the content, but we'll go with it, right? Either way, it's working. And you don't have to have a large following. It's all it's perception of what an influencer is. You think, I don't really have a following. Nobody really pays attention to me. Size doesn't matter, only when it comes to what I'm talking about. It matters in a lot of things in life, but it doesn't matter when it comes to influencing. So there's mega, macro, micro, nano influencers. There's on average, about a 3% conversion rate for micro, macro, and mega. But here's the magic. Nano influencers, which have 500 to 10,000 like social media followers, this is specific about social media, are converting upwards of 30%. The smaller your demographic, right? So the more I can have a small group like this of 50, it doesn't make a difference. You guys will convert higher than the 10,000 people that follow me online, because it's a different relationship when you're talking to smaller groups, right? So it's not about size in a lot of things. We've been influencing since the start of time, so now I'm ready to teach you. You ready to learn? Yes. I know it's early, but wake up, my friends. Wake it up. Okay, so the very first thing you have to know to become an influencer at all is what is your USP, which is your unique selling proposition. As a business, as a company, as a coach, it's the number one question I ask, and it's usually one of the biggest, like, well, and it's really what makes you different. What gives you authority? What are you better at than anyone else? Both as a brand and as a business, but also as an individual. And then once you figure it out, how are you using it in your marketing? Listen, you can't say the same shit everyone says, because I'll roll my eyes at you. Every planner's like, I'm super organized. We run on time. You all say the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, venues are spoiled a little bit because you have actually different structural features. But from a service standpoint, how are you at? Every DJ says the same thing. I can pack the dance floor. No shit. You all should. That's your freaking job. Right? Or the photographer's like, we take amazing photos. And like, I get it. But like, what actually makes you different? Why is someone referring you over someone else? So you can dig through your reviews and really read what are they saying. In general, in my market, people appreciate how direct I am. I'm not really a fluffy person. If you were like, evaluate my Instagram, I'm like, cover your belly button because I'm coming for you. Like, I will tell you exactly what I see, what's good, what's bad, what's terrible, and what you need to work on, right? But like, I'm direct about it. I'm not gonna pet you and love you and be like, it would be so nice if you could. I'd be like, this stuff looks like shit. What are you doing? Like, I am brutal. But you don't come to me if you're not ready for it. And no one refers me without warning you. Like, even when people are like, oh, somebody told me I should have you speak. I'm like, do you know that I curse? I can try my very best. I made it all the way through my first wedding MBA with no cuss words. Second time I said 2. But that's probably the least I've ever said on a stage, because that environment is a no cursing environment, but I can't guarantee it. But I want to make sure they've been given the right information about me, because me being direct and honest and just who I am is my differentiator, right? So you have to really know, as a company, if you have team members here, you got to sit down and figure this out. What makes you different than everyone else in your category? You can ask your friends, you could read your reviews, and ask the people who refer you now. If you have referral partners, because sometimes you can't see it, right? Like, sometimes you don't know. We had a florist in our market, and she's like, I don't know, what's different? And I'm like, well, I can tell you why we refer you all the business we do when I worked at the venue. I said, every florist in town is taking 2 to 3 weeks to turn a proposal, and you turn it in the appointment. They leave with a proposal in hand. So I've got every other bride that I've booked who's like, when are these florists gonna send me I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. So you make me look bad for referring you when you do that. But florist over here, she is literally like typing as she goes, and they leave with the proposal. So we started sending 100% of our business that way. She didn't know that she was the only one who does that. She thought that was a standard. So sometimes you don't know what your differentiators are, so make sure you ask your friends. It can't be like, oh, well, they're so great. When you read your reviews and it's like, I loved working with her. Why? Why do you like working with me? Why do you refer me? And what do you say to people when you refer me? Right? Like, what do you say? If Lorette's gonna say, oh, you should have Shannon speak, I'm like, what do you tell them then? Because like, that's what my USP is. It has to be not just what you do, but I also want you to think about how you do it. It's not just the what, it's the methodology. Usually, especially for planners or like common categories like photography and DJ, we have a photographer in our market that spends probably 3 hours working with her couples on the perfect timeline, and works with the planner if there is one, but she makes sure that photography timeline is flawless. She goes to every rehearsal, shows up. She's a fortune to hire, let's be clear. She's like $10,000. She goes to every rehearsal. She sits there with the wedding party and starts having conversations and says, when I tell you I'm coming at 2 o'clock tomorrow, I need at 1:45, one of you set your alarm, and I need every single thing off the floor in that room to be perfect. She sets that shit up flawless. That's why she can charge $10,000. And that's her differentiator. No one else does that. I met her and was like, you do what? What? First she told me she was 10,000 and I fell off the chair. I was like, to start. Holy crap. And then she told me her system and I'm like, no one does that. No one puts in that kind of time beforehand in our market at least. So it was a unique differentiator. All right, so now we're gonna start with B2B. The ultimate goal of getting referrals, and then we'll work on getting more clients. So, very first step is networking, right? I have been networking since that first bad haircut on the top left. Every woman does it. You know that inkling you have to cut all your hair off once in your life? Don't do it. It takes a long time to grow back, right? But I've been networking my whole career since I didn't have 11s and little smile lines. None of that was there. I have been at every event for my whole career. If I was available, I showed up because that was my entire marketing plan, was to just show up. So a few little tips here. Choose one group and attend consistently. If you're in like our market where there's 5 or 6, going to 5 or 6 every month isn't probably sustainable. So be consistent. There's certain ones that like they do a wedding meeting once a year. We make sure we always go to that, or we'll say this one we go to twice a year. So we're kind of still showing face. Show up with intention and desired outcome. Like say, I am here to meet 3 good people. Because a lot of times people tell me, I don't have time to go to networking. Cool. But if you knew it was a 3-hour event and I go in and I'm like, 3 really good connections is all I need, I make the 3 and then I do an Irish goodbye and I disappear. Literally, people are like, I know you were here during the cocktail hour. I'm like, yeah, but I made the connections I needed. I don't care about the dinner. I know I paid for it, but I don't care. I don't have the hours to be there. So if you go with intent and you check the box, it's okay to leave, right? Block the time for follow through. The amount of business cards I go through is disgusting. The amount of people who actually email me after they ask for my card is like 3%. Do not ask for someone's business card and then not follow up. I do it in the car at networking events. I literally sit in the vehicle, I have a copy paste in my notes and say, it was so great to meet you. I'd love to get coffee, or like, hopefully we'll run into each other again. Like, I literally don't drive away without sending the emails. Because you know when you're gone, then you're on to the next thing, right? So I do it in the car, ask great questions. If you're in a market that doesn't have a group, or like yesterday we were chatting, we did a venue training with some of the venues and they were like, damn, it'd be so good to be able to connect. I'm like, then start your own. Get together once a quarter, talk to each other, like start your own little group. If you're like, well, it'd be great to work with meet other photographers and we can chat. If that doesn't exist, create it yourself. Build your own. You then just became a leader in your industry because you built it your own. I also need you to come prepared with a name tag, which I don't have on right now. Some of you do, very smart, and most of you don't. You're here networking today and you have no name tag on. Wear a name tag, bring your damn business cards, and then my secret new obsession, because what I have found is under the age of 32-ish, if they start a business, they don't get business cards anymore. All they say is follow me on Instagram. While I can appreciate that, I will never remember who you are when I walk out the door. So I actually follow them on Instagram, screenshot their Instagram, and email it to myself in that moment. Because I will forget who it is I met and go through. But my new favorite toy is digital business cards. So this is called a Popl, P-O-P-L. I will give you a code so you can get a discount in a second. The one in the middle is a digital business card. The big circle one is, and I have them in my bag, like the big circle one, if you're like a bridal salon or a florist or whatever, you can actually put it on the door outside. And it is like a scannable, you hold it up to your phone and it just, all your information pops up. So if you want to see what pops up, if you scan this QR code now, it will go to my Popl account and it has all my links digitally, including my contact card. So you can save my contact card with all of my information. It is way better. If you don't want to buy business cards, at least get one of these, please. Because those of us oldies don't want to follow you on Instagram or TikTok. I mean, I'll follow you, but that's not really where we do business, right? So if you are interested in this, take a picture of it. If you use the code, the link, you get 20% off if you decide to buy a Popl, which is great. As being an influencer, I also get paid. This is the win of being an influencer. If you use it, you get 20% off and I make 25% on anything you purchase. Last year, I made $3,000 off Popple influencing. Off this one product. Because everywhere I go, I have my digital business card and people are like, holy shit, what is this? And I'm like, wait, use my link. You get 20% off. And they're like, okay. And then I get paid. Win. That is the bonus of influencing. You help people, but you also make money. It's also important to be top of mind. So what I mean is, like, you build these relationships at a networking event and then you never show up again, right? You don't talk to them, you don't follow up with them. So you need to show up where they're at. So whether you get to work with them at a wedding, that's cool, but you should be building a business-to-business email list. Now, never put someone on your list without asking, please. I hate when people meet me at a networking event and they dump me on their list. If you ask me, I'll probably say yes. If you don't ask me, I unsubscribe. But when I meet people, I'll be like, hey, we send out a monthly email with tips, ideas, different services we use. If you're interested in getting it, I'll add you. And they're like, yeah, then they go in my left pocket. If they're like, I don't know, they go in my right pocket. I still follow up with them, but I don't put them on my email list. I always wear pockets when I network so I can strategically know which cards I do with what. You can do snail mail. If you learn things at a conference like this, you can share the tips you learned. I'm also a huge fan of Christmas in July as a venue. I would get 600,000 calories worth of gifts in the month of December. At my hotel, the rest of the staff loved it because I gave it all to engineering, housekeeping, and front desk. I passed it around because it was too much at one time of year. So how can you be different? How can you say happy birthday or I'm Irish, happy St. Patrick's Day? I don't know, think outside the box. When you're keeping those relationships going, you should be following the people you meet. Like when you meet people today, follow them on social media. We all need more followers. We all need more followers. Followers interaction, follow them on every platform, and then engage by commenting. We'll touch on this. But the easiest thing for you to do is a once a month B2B newsletter. Like staying top of mind. You meet all of these people, you meet venues and planners and things, but they forget about you because then they haven't seen you in 3 months. So send them out something like once a month that's a little like, here's what's new with us, here's the award we got, here's what, if you are someone who has never stepped foot into the world of email marketing, we use Flowdesk. It's the cheapest I've ever seen. We got off MailChimp, we switched off MailerLite, we switched off everything because my email lists are now 10 to 15,000 and you can send unlimited emails and have unlimited contacts for like $20 a month. It's amazing. So it's incredible. Okay, now I'm gonna teach you a dirty little secret. There's a few features in Instagram that make that like engagement and relationship building really sexy. If you have your phone, you're probably gonna wanna pull it out so you can see what I'm talking about. Pull out your phone and open your Instagram. There's 2 sections inside of Instagram that most companies are not using. One of them calling favorites and one of them calling close friends. So inside of the app, let me just explain the difference before I show you where it is. Inside the app, there's a place for favorites. The people you want to favorite and the accounts you want to favorite are the people you want to engage with the most. So if you're a photographer and you're trying to build a relationship with that planner and that venue and whatever, you want to favorite them. You also maybe want to favorite the people who refer you the most, but you can only have 50 favorites. So be strategic with your choices. The other option are called close friends. How you use close friends is that you can post stories that only close friends see. So meaning like, let's say I'm running a special that I only want wedding pros to know about to tell other people, but I don't want clients who are following me to see it, right? Because I want you guys to refer it in for the special, but I don't want to piss off the clients who already booked me that they didn't get the special. You can post it to your stories and only to your close friends. Right? So there's a section in there. It targets specifically. You can have unlimited quantity. In my world, every single wedding and event vendor that follows my account, I make them a close friend, always. And then, so when I get a new follow, it's a close friend. So let me show you where and how you do this. So if you open up any single person's account that you're following, there's a little green, it'll say you're following them. If you click that little thing, the drop down comes down. And then it will say, do you want to make them a close friend or add them to favorites? You can do both, but like that's where you do it. So you're looking for the account, you go into their account, you hit the following button, you hit that little button, that little green guy, you hit the drop down, and that's where you put them in that category. How many of you knew that existed? How many of you are using it strategically? Well, you're using it because you saw this presentation, you cheater. Just kidding. So now there's another recent feature within the last 12 months inside of Instagram, and this is why the favorites are so key. So when you open up Instagram, this is like your normal feed, right? As you're scrolling, it's full of all kinds of crap you're not following, reels you don't know, what the algorithm has told you need, ads, all of that stuff. But if you actually click on the Instagram logo at the top, a little drop down will appear. And you can change that feed to only scroll through a new feed of the people you're following or your favorites.
Okay, where?
So you go back, when you just open it up, click on Instagram at the top, the logo, that doesn't look like there's anything when you click it. And when you click it, a drop down appears. And if you choose like favorites, it will only show you the posts from those 50 favorites. Sexy, right? This is how you build relationships. If you're trying to build relationships within the room and you favorited those 50 people, if you don't have a lot of time for engagement, which is scrolling and commenting and liking things, you can be really strategic with your time and only do the people you're following or your favorites. So like we at my venue followed every single one of our couples. So I could go in and see what they were doing in their wedding planning process, what was going on in their lives. I didn't follow everybody. I only followed the couples a ton. When people tell me they don't have time for engagement, I really like them to meet Boozy. That's my mom. My mom's 75. We call her Boozy because she doesn't drink, but she drank one time and got so wasted. She called herself Susan Boozin' for 4 hours straight. I was 14. We never called her mom again. We've been calling her Boozy from that point forward. My friends call her Boozy. The whole industry calls her Boozy because she helps me check in at events. Boozy does all my Instagram engagement. She's retired. She wakes up in the morning. She opens the Instagram feed and is like, oh, I got to get to work today. And she scrolls and comments. That's all she does. Within the first 90 days, our engagement went up 846% in 90 days because Boozy was commenting. They all thought it was me. I was like, it's definitely not me. We did have to do some emoji training because she got really excited by emojis. And I was like terrified that some caterer was going to put up eggplant parm and she was going to be like, woo, the eggplant emoji, a reason to use it. So we had to go over. I didn't know tacos were lady parts. I knew about bananas and the peaches and the eggplants, but I learned a lot while researching to teach her. Lessons learned. But anybody can be doing engagement for you. In your life, you have a stay-at-home friend, a retired parent, you have someone that you can pay them with a gift card to scroll and like and comment. It is so important, especially in the B2B relationships. The amount of times that I reach out to a company and they're like, oh my God, you are the first to comment every time. How many of us are posting and posting and posting and get no comments? Isn't it sad? It's so sad. If we all commented on each other's stuff a lot more. If you're trying to build a relationship with a venue, you are a moron if you are not commenting on every post. Duh. Those people are feeding you business. Why are you not helping them back? Easy way to do it. Okay, so then you're also supposed to share your process, meaning you're supposed to teach people the things that you know. I'm going to skip through some of these because I get overexcited with time. But you have expertise to share and things to teach people, so why aren't you taking advantage of it? You might be exceptional at one area of your business. Help other people. That's how I got here. I didn't start public speaking. I just started being like, oh my God, look at this shit I just found on Instagram. And then someone was like, that should probably go in one of your presentations. And I was like, oh, really? People don't know that? Okay, cool. Right? You have expertise. You've figured out the secret sauce for one area of your business. Help other people in the industry. That's how you grow rapport with them. I'm skipping past crap. Okay, now we're on to business to consumer. So it's great that we've built relationships here to get referrals, but ultimately we want to make more money and book more couples, correct? Right? Okay. If you want referrals, you have to give referrals. You can't be a taker. No one likes takers in that world, right? You have to make deposits into the bank. You have to deposit into the referral bank to get them out. No venue that you don't take care of, it's hard to give referrals to a venue, but planners aren't hard to give referrals to. You expect them to refer your business and you don't ever refer them back. That relationship feels like a bad one-sided. It's bad dating. I break up with those guys. We don't stay in relationships for long. So you need to make sure you're thinking, how can I treat, when a referral comes in, how do I treat that like a gold piece of business? So if you're not asking on forums on your website, how'd you hear about me, and referrals being an option, number one. Number two, referrals should be specific. Referral from a wedding venue, referral from a wedding vendor, referral from a friend and family, referral other. I need to know who referred, like what category. And you should be prioritizing those leads off somebody who just found you on the internet. Work faster, because a referral is almost pre-sold. I've done the work. If I pick up the phone for somebody in Houston and be like, you need to come to this conference and this is why, and they reach out to say, hey, I need information about the conference, they are ready to go. They're ready to buy. I've already done the work for you, so keep that in mind. Give them extra attention. Hype the company that referred you. It's so easy to be like, oh my God, we love working at that venue. They're so great. Their service, you're like reinforcing their purchasing decisions, right? And then say freaking thank you. Send an email. It's not that hard. But you know how many people I refer and they never say thank you? I don't refer you again. Because you didn't ask, because you're an idiot, and you didn't ask where did you hear about me. I'm gonna stop sending you business if you don't appreciate it, right? If you are like a vendor of a different category, this works really well for like DJs especially. You can make specific packages for some of the venues that refer you all the time. You know that venue X requires 2 setups, a different speaker. This ballroom specifically needs 12 lights. Build a package that's specific to that venue as like an appreciation. I'm gonna make it so easy when you send a client to me, I'm like, oh, venue X, we have 3 packages that are perfect for that space. Put the effort in so it feels like, oh, they have something, I don't care if it's the same package as you put on the rest of everything. No one cares. It makes them feel special. You also need to trend forward. Can't be the old fuddy-duddy in the room. I'm sorry, I've been doing this 20 years, but I learn shit every single day. You have to know what the upcoming wedding trends are in all the categories, not just in what you do, but everywhere, right? You need to know what's local in your market, but also like start asking at networking events, what are you seeing? What's cool? I always ask the florists and decor people, I'm like, what's trending in linen? I should have worked in linen. I love linen. Are there linen people here? Oh God, you're my people. I love linen. I just like to touch it and pet it and fabrics. But I'm always like, what's trending? What's hot? What are people? Because we host networking events and I want to show the cool stuff. Florists, I'm like, what's cool in art? What's cool in arches? Oh, it's triangle this year. It was quadrangle last year. I don't know, whatever. But like, learn what's trending in your market. You could even do like a what's hot day on Instagram stories. Show that you as a company are trendy, that you know what's hot and what's cool going out there. Also, figure out when you're working with clients how to help them and stop selling to them. If you're old school, you are selling, you have to stop. Gen Z is not okay with that. They do not want to be sold to, ever, in any way. Gen Z will only buy furniture off the internet. Do you want to know why? Because when you walk into a furniture store, somebody comes for you and is like, what are you looking for today? How can I help you? What can I do? And they're like, oh, you're talking to me. And they run, right? When you try to sell to them, that is what's going to happen. So you have to figure out how to help them in some different ways. Be direct with your potential clients. Set super clear expectations for them. Treat them like a friend planning a wedding. Be real. Stop trying to just make money off of them. Help them. If you're not the right vendor, it's okay to walk away. It's okay to be like, we're not the right fit. But you know who sounds like a better fit for you? These 2 over here, and send them on their way. Share your expertise. Ask what other referrals they need. How many of you in your sales meeting or whatever are saying, what other vendors do you still need help with? Are you doing that? So easy, right? If you're a photographer and you're higher on the food chain than like hair and makeup, sorry ladies, you're on the bottom. Hair and makeup, you're down here. No, DJ? No. Hell no. Nope. You're big or catering, photography, dress, and DJ. It's your big 4. And catering sometimes comes with the venues, but the big 4. Cake, not at the top. Sorry. They never care most about the cake. Nobody, half of them are like, I don't even want a cake anymore. Like, it's not, so you have to know where you rank, and then, but don't assume that your hair and makeup, so you're down at the bottom. Don't not ask, because sometimes she's like a TikTok fanatic, so hair and makeup was way more important to her than the average couple coming in. So all of a sudden you're like, oh, she actually wants that? Ooh, I gotta do it. But none of these things matter if you're not gonna be inconsistent. right? So you're not gonna do all of this. I don't expect you to. Hopefully you start a few things on your paper that you're like, I'm gonna take action on that. But whatever it is, just be consistent with it. If you're like, we're gonna start engaging on Instagram and build our favorites list, don't build the list and then not engage. That's stupid, it's just sitting there floating, right? So be consistent. When you have influence, it takes work. Overall, you need more and better content, because once you build that influence, where are you putting it? This is where the couples are planning their events. Social media, on Google, at wedding shows, local directories, national directories, all of these places is where they're planning. So you have to try to figure out what content can you put in the different places, right? Like what can you put there? Oh, did you get it? Okay. Listen, on social media, most of you are following the post and pray method. You're posting. You maybe have a kind of sort of strategy, but you're not actually doing much with it. You're putting stuff out there and hoping that it's gonna do something. I'm skipping because I get overexcited. You are posting and it's not stopping them. They are not stopping the scroll. So start paying attention when you scroll. What makes you stop? We could do we have a whole nother presentation on that. We can't do that today. Your website is also super important. When's the last time you updated it? Is it clear what your USP is? Are you talking to your ideal client, or are you trying to talk to everybody? If you're a florist and you only do luxury, why are you showing ugly, cheap shit on your homepage? Show for the client that you want to have and that you want to work with. From where are people getting to your website? This is all stuff you can get in your Google Analytics. What pages are they looking at, and how many of them get to your page and convert? I went with a bridal salon and we looked, and they were getting like 2,000 hits a week to their homepage and like 4 appointments. Your website is not working for you. Something's broken. Bad. 2,000 hits. But then we were like, well, where are they coming from? So we were trying to figure out, like, you got to pay attention to figure out where it goes, right? You can also work to get in front of someone else's audience, like bridal extravaganza. Like, they have an audience of vendors and couples. So how can you work with the people in this room to get in front of the audience they already have? If you're a venue, people are like, I'm the top of the list. Sometimes bridal salon is higher than you. Sometimes they're looking at the dress while they're looking at the venue. So how do you work with the other people at the top of the food chain? How do you work together with them to get in front of the audience they have? Maybe you invite them out. Maybe you do an Instagram live together and they're in your venue. Like, how do you build influence utilizing someone else's audience they already have? You also want to Google and see who's ranking higher than you. This is not hard. When I search Orlando wedding photographer, these two are on page 1, which means they're getting more leads than every other photographer in our market. How do you build a relationship with the people who are ranking really high for their category? Because they're getting more leads than the average, right? And ultimately, it's how can you help them? Not just how can they help you, what are you giving to help build with them in general? Make sense? I have to wrap it up, but I have more things to teach you because we have good stuff at the end of the day, but it's like hard 9:45, right? We have 30 seconds. Okay, not really, like a minute. Ultimately, let me get to one other. When you're I just want to get you a few other. If you are advertising on local and national directories, I really need you to pay attention to your listings. It's not set it and forget it. This isn't a bad TV infomercial. You remember those, the rotisserie chicken guy? It just shows my age. So, but like, you have to actually do the work and update the things. When you do the things I'm talking about, money will come in overall. And there's ways you can get creative with passive income and all of that once you have built the audience. But the very first thing you have to do is build the audience. Feel good? Got some good ideas? All right, I'm done. Let me throw my info up. Ignore all this. Ignore all this. I got overexcited. I'm gonna throw my information on the last slide. If you need help, you're stuck with me. You're stuck with me till the end of the day, because I'm finishing up again at the end of the day. But if you need help with an audit on your Instagram, on your website, if you want me to do webinars and teach your team, any of that stuff, all my information is there. If you're coming to Wedding MBA in Vegas in November, I speak twice. Come and see me speak. Good? All right, good. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you later. I'm here all day if you have questions.